Friends, this program is brought to you by the generous support of people like you. Founders Church of Religious Science, a center for spiritual living in Los Angeles, is committed to providing you with inspirational messages daily and weekly to enhance your spiritual journey into your best possible life. To become a supporter, please visit our website or click the link on this page to inform you on how to make your gift. We thank you.
Good morning, friends. This is opening day for me, and I'm as excited as a bee is finding a new flower. And I would like to let you know that we're going to deal with something that should be close to your heart. My subject is the law of new beginnings. And what we need to know about this law is that it's always in operation. It's never stopping, because even physicists have gotten into it by telling us that in every moment, every entity in the universe comes into being and perishes, In other words, beginnings are forever ongoing. And we are participating in that. It is part of who we are. And as we come out of this period of COVID, we're really like Noah coming out of the ark. We have been sheltering in our individual arks for a long time. And here comes that dove with that olive branch, and it brings it to signal that we can come out. And the olive branch really is the vaccine that has been made by this brilliant, or a number of brilliant scientists. And here we are. We're coming out into a new beginning to control our lives, to take charge of our lives, to be here. And so this morning I have an opportunity to not only acknowledge that this is our first day back in church from COVID, but I have an opportunity to share with you some thoughts, some ideas that will align you more properly and powerfully with the law of new beginnings that says every moment is a moment of new beginning. I want to share with you, in the beginning here, two mythic images of creation. You know, when you think about the God of the universe doesn't belong to some particular religion. That is our tribal view that you see ongoing right now, even in our country. That people who look like this belong to one tribe, and people who look like that belongs to another tribe. We have to realize that we are in a universe where roses are roses, whether they're red or blue or white or pink or gray. Roses are roses. God made them all things bright and beautiful, all creatures great and small, all things wise and wonderful. The Lord God made them all. So here we are, coming to understanding how we can go about creating our lives, how we can go about beginning our lives again. And the first myth comes from Genesis. And we can talk about Genesis 1, which in Hebrew is called Bereshit, which means in the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. What we are seeing here is an image of contemplation. How we are to approach any kind of chaos or problems in our lives, to rise above it to a higher consciousness that is not touched by the comings and goings of those issues. And when we get there, to recognize that we are in connection with a power and an intelligence greater than we are. And it is informing us how to approach this new moment of beginning. And what we are saying here, God's call for the light is the light of insight. It's the light of inspiration. It's the light of, wow, this is really how it goes. And what a wonderful feeling that is. And so that is one of the first mythic image that we have, that we can use. We tend to think that it's only God creating in the beginning, as if it is some far time in history or beyond history. But in the beginning is every single moment that we exist or anything exists. And you are participating in it. And so later on in Revelation, you will see, behold, I make all things new. When? You can't make all things new if you only do it once some long time ago. You make all things new if they are constantly changing. And I want to come back to that word, changing. But let's take the second mythic image. And the second mythic image puts us in Hinduism. You see, we must understand that the different cultures develop their relationship with God in their cultural ways. And yet, they come to similar conclusions about this wonderful power that's greater than we are. And so they come with the idea of a trinity, God as a trinity. Still one God, just like in Christianity, in Christianity, we have the Trinity. And what we have is a God called Brahman, which is the creator God, Vishnu, which is the sustainer God, and Shiva, who is the destroyer God. And now take a look at how life is for us. That there is a cycle for life. You see it in the seasons where there is spring, there's summer, there's fall, and there's winter. And in winter, things seem to die, but they are brought back in a different form, and that is the God, the destroyer God Shiva, that takes things that now pass away from this particular expression of life, and they are used to come back in some form or fashion. I don't mean the person comes back. I mean somehow every cell and tissue and fiber becomes atoms again, and these atoms come back in some form. And so when we look at Brahman, that's you. Because you and I are creating this life. We don't come with some kind of a guideline that says, well, this is exactly what we're going to do. We can learn some from our tradition, but the idea is that you are creating your life. And during that creation period, during your existence in this life, what you will find is that it has to be sustained, and that is Vishnu. So we're looking at two different traditions, but we don't have to compare them as if one is better than the other. What we need to do is learn their secrets, that they are conveying to us about the law of new beginnings. In our introduction, I talk about being like Noah coming out of the ark. The flood of virus, COVID-19, was overtaken the entire world. It covered the entire world. People say, well, you know that story is a stupid story. How can all these people hold in the ark and so on? But that's because people think, not poetically, but literally about these stories. These stories are about your inner life, the inner life of the soul, and how it works. And so once we got the cure, we find that the sea abated, and now Noah and his family can begin a new life. Just as you have been sheltering, and now you're coming out of sheltering to resume your life, to begin again, to use the law of new beginning. Isn't that exciting? This is what you're doing. And so when we look at this, we have to be grateful to all the people, the folks that were out there taking care of us when we were sheltering. And one of these folks, as we are thankful for them and thankful first to God, is Kazmikia, I couldn't pronounce her name, Corbett. And this is a 32-year-old black woman who was the brain behind the Moderna vaccine. So when all of us get the Moderna vaccine, and of course wasn't the only vaccine, we don't ask if it came from a black woman or a white man or a white woman or a Chinese or something else. We take it because right now, this is the olive branch of acknowledgement that life is resuming its normality. And it doesn't matter who brought it. But it does matter to the fact that those of us who have these strange ideas about differences can realize that as Americans together and as citizens of the world, we're here for everyone, not just for some, not for a tribal thing. We have to outgrow this tribal thing. We need a new beginning to outgrow this notion that we are tribal people. The tribe is humanity, and the village is the earth. And we're part of this now, and we're moving forward into something quite spectacular if we can understand it. So every single moment is a moment for you to dream again and to start again. Seneca says, every new beginning comes with some other beginning's end. Every new beginning comes with some other beginning's end. Some other beginning's end. So something is always ending, and something is always beginning. So my friends, when we look at what we have to do, some of us have failed at business, not because we didn't do what's right, but because the entire economy locked down. Henry Ford says, failure is the opportunity to begin again more intelligently. And perhaps more intelligently might mean that we need to do what some of our intellectuals have been telling us years ago, that we must prepare for these viruses. And we did not prepare. So that is beginning more intelligently for one thing. Plato says, the beginning is the most important part of the work. So when you look at your possibilities, you can allow fear to freeze you, to turn you into a pillar of salt, like Lot's wife looking back at what was behind. Let us stop looking back and look forward to what is possible. This is what new beginnings are about. So what we should do is we should analyze our situation. We should know what our strengths and weaknesses are for the new beginning. We should know what the threats are. We should know what the opportunities are. So if we turn to business, they have something they call the SWOT analysis, S-W-O-T analysis. And it means strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You look at your strength. What resources you have to start again? Do you have to go and get a loan to start your business? Do you have to apply for a new job? Do you have the skills? You look at these things to see how ready you are for your new beginning. This is what is demanded by the law of new beginnings. But mostly what is demanded is that you have this vision of something better than before. And you look at your weaknesses, but you don't allow them to deter you from going forth. You just allow them to give you sufficient caution so you're not reckless about your bold step forward. You look at the opportunities that should excite you, that I can go forward because of these opportunities. And you look at the threats. And the threats can be even your negative thinking about not accepting the good that you are now moving toward. You make a plan. Karl Barth said, Although no one can go back and make a brand new start, everyone can start from now to make a brand new ending. And that's what we're doing. Isn't that exciting? We are doing just that. So the plan should have a sense of mission. You should have a sense of vision. You should have a sense of your objectives. We can't cover this in a sermon, but you can go look up these things in Google. The idea is you want to know where you're going and how long it's going to take you, how much time you have to put in. These are the things you must plan your time, because if you're not planning to succeed, you may be planning to fail. So what we want to do now is to also realize that we should have a sense of gratitude. New beginnings should be something we are very happy about. We survived the COVID-19 pandemic. That is something to be profoundly thankful for. Yes, I know there are some who didn't. We need to understand that we're not pitting God toward some people against others. There's no comparison in these things. We are only here for a time, and some of us are going to die, whether by this or some other way. But we are alive. So it's not a question of saying, well, how is it that God made those people die? God gives us our freedom. And our freedom means we have the opportunity to make good choices. And sometimes we don't know what the choices are. But we still have the responsibility to learn and to know. So we have the sense of gratitude for what we have. Get up every morning with a sense of gratitude for what you have. And gratitude sometimes don't have to be you're running around and telling everybody thanks for this and that. What it can be is your reflection about the positive things in your life. Isn't that something? Rather than putting your time on thinking about all the negative things. You notice when one negative thing happens in your life on a day, you forget all the positive things, and that's what you think about. You got to stop it. You got to know that that's not what your life is about. Psychologists believe that gratitude is one of the most overlooked tools for increasing happiness. We don't want a new beginning that makes us sad. We don't want a new beginning that makes us depressed. We want a new beginning so we can be buoyant and happy and feel the joy, the rapture of being alive. These are the things that we are working toward. And we can begin to assume these things because of the excitement and the enthusiasm that we feel. There is a motivation, there is an influx of energy, spiritual energy and physical energy. You look at me and you see all these muscles bulging out. I didn't just get them from walking around and sitting down in the pews. Well, maybe they're not that big, but they're big enough. They're big enough, and yours is big enough too. And so what we're looking at here is that as we come into the feeling of gratitude, we will find better emotions to support our consciousness. We will find that we have a better personality for people to like us more. We will find social dynamics because you don't mind mixing and being with other people because you have something to say and something to do. And you will find success and health in whatever career you choose. So my friends, we have spent some time looking at two mythic images of creation. Your inspired vision is a call. So when you're called, that vision that you have, that becomes your call. You have been listening to how to analyze your situation before you step out into your activity. You have been listening to how to plan your time and how to be grateful. And if you are willing to do this, you will find that the law of new beginnings is right there at your fingertips, right there at the edge of your thought, moving into that place of openness and abundance for you, and life will transform into the very life that you deserve and desire to live. God bless you all. Hello, friend. As you can see, I'm in the main sanctuary of Founders. And that's because today is a day of new beginnings for us. And trust, it might be a day for new beginnings for you in terms of your support for the program. I would imagine that there must be something that was shared in the message that you find that hits that part of your soul and resonated with you. Well, there it is that you have received, and as you have received, also freely give. This is the law of circulation working for both of us. So I'm inviting you, particularly at this time when our church has been closed for so long, step up to the plate. Step up to the plate, literally, and send us a contribution. You know, we can use it. And we will continue to bring these wonderful lessons, I trust, to you. Thank you, and God bless. Hello, friends. This is our time to pray, to turn within. Let me invite you to close your eyes and to be with me right now in consciousness, to recognize that every single moment that we call change is a moment of new beginnings. And we are here to understand that in new beginnings there are opportunities for us to let go of what doesn't work in the past. Not to blame ourselves, not to flog ourselves, but to encourage ourselves to know that in this new, pristinely new moment, you can claim a new part for your soul, for your activity, for your participation in this world to be far more effectively good than it has been. I'm calling attention to the fact that you are ready for this new beginning. And all you have to do right now is to accept it, to say, this is my moment. And you will find that the entire universe is conspiring to bring this wonderful new you to this new moment. Knowing that this is true, knowing that this is already successful, because in God all time is the present time, I say, thank you, Father, Mother, God. And together let us affirm, and so it is. Thank you for sharing this time. Peace.